Kill the coverage and then watch how quickly they forget the same issues people said that we cannot neglect. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to what's probably going to be a very weird and wacky episode of the Sexual Intellectual Podcast. I am JD, aka He Who Pods, and I must apologize in advance. I don't know how this is going to sound. I'm recording this on my phone. The platform I normally use is having some issues, and I'm using their mobile app. So let's see how this goes. If it sounds weird, I apologize. I'll try my best to do better next pod. Also, I had some cool articles I wanted to read to y'all, but I can't do that because I'm on my phone. So, also we'll try to do that next pod. So let's say this. This is going to be a different kind of episode. I will not be using the politics as usual drop, but we will be discussing politics because, man, there's a lot going on. But first, let's talk about something a little different. There is something called dating docs. People who are on dating apps are feeling a little overwhelmed, and other people are feeling kind of like, they're just over it. They don't want to be on dating apps. Although today they are a necessary evil, people are taking an alternative route, kind of going the AOL, AIM, old school route. What do I mean? What I mean is people are putting out documents that kind of set up their dating profile in a larger spectrum. And so, yeah, some people are still including some pictures they like so you can see them and see what they're working with. And they are including other things: age, gender, location, sexual orientation, interests. It's almost like if you've ever been on a dating app and you see someone with a super long, super detailed profile, like in the About Me section, it's just paragraphs and paragraphs. Think about that, except it's not necessarily on a dating app. People are tweeting it out. People are putting it in their other social media platforms. I guess we don't say tweeting it anymore, but whatever. Y'all know what I'm saying. And they're trying to get responses. They feel that a dating doc is kind of a better look than the dating apps. They are saying, according to a New York Times article, y'all could look it up. You could just Google Date Me Docs, New York Times. And according to this article, people mostly in the tech world are doing this based on stats and studies that are starting to come out. There's even one person who's trying to collect a database of all the Date Me Docs so people can kind of get more information and I guess kind of become a centralized place. So Date Me Docs, this is the new thing. And people say that because there's already a lot of information being exchanged, when you see my dating doc, I see your dating doc. When we do have this first date, hopefully, then we have a better connection because instead of just swipe left, swipe right, we have this connection because we already know each other's real interest and things that are really on our mind and really going on with us. And so that is Date Me Docs. I thought it was interesting. And it is kind of like some AIM, AOL type stuff when we used to hit each other up. Hey, ASL, what's your ASL? Stuff like that. And I thought that was really interesting and different and worth bringing here. So that is our first topic, Date Me Docs. What do y'all think about Date Me Docs? Would you try one? Would you put that on your social media so people could just go and check it out? Because I thought that was interesting too. A lot of people want to keep their dating stuff off of social media because they don't really want to intertwine the two. But maybe this is a new thing that you'll try. What do you guys think about that? I don't think I would put a Date Me Doc in my social media. I don't really want those people intertwined. But what do y'all think about Date Me? All right, so next is there's a lot of things going on in court right now, right? You've got Donald Trump with several cases going on. And I cannot help but think how interesting this is and how arrogant this situation this man has become. Even with all of these trials and things going on, pending allegations, multiple court cases, he's still very adamant that he is running for president, even today, right now. Wow. I also saw an article that said if Biden ever freezes up the way Mitch McConnell did, that it will be a very easy win for Donald Trump. Wow. This is so interesting. And another article I saw said that 44% of Republican voters polled were concerned about Donald Trump court stuff, about the allegations and the trials and all of that. Isn't it time to hang it up? I think it's time, no? It's time. It gotta be time, because how could you be doing all of this and still be trying to run for president? I mean, it's like a circus out here. I mean, isn't it like, all right, one of my favorite quotes from the movie American Gangster is, there's a difference between quitting while you're ahead and quitting. And I think it's time. It's time to quit. Because, I mean, maybe endorse somebody else, maybe even throw your hat in for the next one. The next one, 2028. Because, like, don't you think you got to clean up your house before you go back on the road and try to run for president again? I know that he's got a big fan base. But, man, that's some pretty confident shit, no? I think it might be time, player. Might be time to call it quits. And speaking of time, it's time to have a real conversation about January 6th. Well, as y'all know, many people are on trial for January 6th incidents. Or rather, the incident from January 6th has brought many people to trial. And today, September 5th, Tuesday, a Proud Boy was sentenced to 22 years. 22. Deuce. 22 years. They say he's one of the ex-leaders. I had an article ready to read, but unfortunately, like I told y'all earlier, I don't have the capability to do that right now. And so, it's all over the internet. You've probably seen it by now. But yes, an ex-Proud Boy leader has been sentenced to 22 years for the incident, for his involvement and different parts of what he did, supposedly on January 6th. I am not mad at it. I am staying on my stance that I said a while back. If those people who stormed the White House were black and brown people, they'd probably be dead. There'd be no trials at all. Just bodies and bodies of dead people. And so I don't have any guilt towards the people who are being locked up for the January 6th incident. I don't. 22 years, great. Who cares? Give them more time. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. No, it doesn't. I stand with the stance that I gave. I feel if it were people who were the opposite of the colors of the building, if it were people the opposite of the people in the Proud Boys, if it were people who were the opposite of all of the things that they protest for and represent, they'd be dead. It would be a slaughter on national television. That's what would have happened. They never even would have made it over the fence. So no, I don't have anything nice to say here. People are saying it's crazy that this man got so much time. But it was an act of terrorism. I don't understand what there is to really discuss here. Because you can't do that. That's not how it works. You can't just storm the Capitol and think nothing's going to happen. So you should be thanking yourself every day you're alive that you even are alive. Because the reality is many of us would not be. If me and a group of people went and said, hey, we're going to storm the Capitol, we wouldn't be alive. It wouldn't happen. Sorry, but that's the truth. It just wouldn't happen. You would not see me on trial. You'd see a dead body. You'd see white bags. You'd see bodies in a morgue. That's the type of stuff you would see. Let's just be honest here, okay? And speaking of being honest, it's also time to be honest about Mitch. Listen, Mitch, It's been good. It's been a good run, Mitch. You were the majority leader, and now you've been playing freeze tag on television. I don't know what little kid ran up and tapped him, but this is the second time they catch you playing freeze tag on camera. Mitch, it's time, player. It's time to call it quits. It's time. And I understand that his peers may not want him to step down. I understand that his peers may not want him to step down from his position as leader or his role in government, period. But yo, when it's time, it's time. It's time. You can't keep freezing. I saw that the doctor cleared him. They said he didn't have a seizure. He didn't have any real problems. He's all right. He's good and he can keep on keeping on. No, he can't. Listen, it's over. You can't represent the American people looking like this. Biden can't keep falling and you can't keep freezing. It's time to call it quits. It's time. Listen, there comes a time in a man's life when he got to just keep it real with himself. And sometimes that time comes when you don't expect it. It comes when you're on TV, just blinking. Just blinking. They had to ask him, sir, did you hear the question? Yeah. Come on, player. It's over. It's time to call it quits. I'm sorry, but it's time. When it's time, it's time. And let me tell you, player, it's time. It's really interesting, right? I mean, if we're going to put the jokes to the side, it's interesting that even freezing on camera, even when you are clearly too old to still be doing it, these people will not give up their positions of power. Wow, right? It's just so interesting. It's like, I got to do it as long as I physically can, as long as I've got breath left in me. But why? You've made millions. You've done a lot of things in your career. You're in a position of power. Listen, man, but it's time. Better to call it quits while you're ahead than when you're hardly breathing. And I know the way that the political system works here in this country, his peers, his party, they have, agendas. They have things in play. They have things they're working on. I get all of that. But player, it's over. It's time to call it quits. I don't understand why we have to continue to see people in our government who are old, frail, and on the cusp of calling it quits for real, still in power, still here in government positions. This is why it's also time to set a term limit. It's time. We can't just have people in there forever until they croak or like a week before. We have to set a party limit or some kind of way that they can get, reelected or listen. It's bad. That's what I'm saying, okay? It's bad. It's time to reassess what's going on in our government. It's time to reassess what's going on in our nation. And it's time to really think about what we want as a people moving forward. It's time to think. I mean, what you want? You want people like the people at the Republican convention just saying wild, crazy shit, whether they're old or young? And let me be clear. I'm not here waving the Democratic flag. I am only speaking on the current event things going on. I am not trying to pick on the Republican Party. It just so happens that right now, a lot of them are being, put on Front Street. A lot of them are the ones that are under the microscope. That's all. I want to be clear. I'm not here caping, quote unquote, for the Democratic Party. I got beef with them too. My concern at the moment in this Mitch McConnell thing is just that, it's too much. Clearly, it's too much for the gentleman. And so it's time to really reevaluate. Have a seat, Mitch. Not your seat, not the seat, a seat. A seat somewhere else, a seat on the porch. Go home and relax, man. You've done what you had to do here. It's time. In other news, okay, uh, the owner, or I should say the parent company of Dunkin', Arby's, and Wingstop, Rourke Capital, recently purchased Subways. Ain't that a little interesting? Because Dunkin', Arby's, and Wingstop, they're kind of very different brands, but each innovative in their own way. They each have very specific branding as well, and even fan bases, right? Or yeah, fans base. Let's go with fan bases, right? Or followings, rather. Subways has been in a really rapid decline. It's interesting to me that they purchased Subways. That's weird. It just happened very recently, and I saw a couple places covering it, and it's just like an anomaly to me. It's weird that of all the things they could have purchased or have been looking to purchase, probably, Subways? Subways, like Eat Fresh Subways. Like recently we started having people slice meat right in their locations. Subways. I don't know. I feel like, isn't it kind of too late to try to revamp Subways? I don't know. I feel like there are so many other brands and fast casual places that are available for consumers to eat from that this is like a weird buy. But I am also very curious what they would do with a brand like Subways. Because, I mean, Arby's is doing all right, even though they're not the top dogs. Wingstop is Wingstop. Everybody knows Wingstop. And Dunkin', listen, I don't have coffee with me today, but y'all know every pod, I'm up here sipping a Dunkin'. You know, I mean, if I go to the other room, there's about eight cups that need to be recycled from Dunkin' because I stay with the Dunkin'. And so America runs on Dunkin'. We know that. But I'm not sure what the correlation is here. And I'm not sure what they would do to revamp the brand. I'm very curious what they would do to revamp the brand. Because the brand needs revamping. The brand needs to be relaunched, edited, innovated, all of the above, really. Because Subways has been a wild spot for a minute. And I don't know if y'all know, but they've been closing hundreds and hundreds of locations around the United States. It's not like it's just in, major cities like New York. It's all over the U.S. They're closing lots and lots of locations. And so I'm curious what Rourke Capital is going to do with this brand, with this company. And I wonder how they'll refresh the branding, the following, the culture behind Subways, because a lot of the things that it was known for and popular for, they kind of left with Jared. And we don't even really need to get into Jared. That's a nasty, nasty guy. Not nasty in a good way either. But I'm curious, what do you think Subways can do to kind of reignite the flame? What do you think Rourke Capital will do on the business end, the back end? And what will you think they do for consumers who are coming in and long-standing fans and consumers of Subways? All right? That's my question. That's my thought. I wonder what y'all think about it. I think I got one more thing here. Let me see. Uno. How could I forget? How could I forget the last topic? Shame on me for that. Well, the last topic is, I told y'all last episode that a new variant is on the rise, and already in different states, they are discussing mask mandates yet again. Yeah, I think that's really interesting. There are already lots of debates surrounding the topic. It's like they have all been reignited because, that was the big thing before. Mask or no mask. Where should you wear a mask? When should you wear a mask? Why should you wear a mask? What type of mask? All of this has resurfaced as this new variant is, being spoken about, being discussed, and spreading. And I just think it is really, really interesting, honestly. I'm more curious, what do you think about this discussion? Do we think mask mandates are necessary? Do we think that we should be ordering masks in bulk? Do we think more lockdowns are coming? What do you guys think? I don't know what to think. I don't think mask mandates are necessary. Truthfully, I don't think people are going to follow them after the way things happened last time and the way that people kind of view things today. Now, I will say, moving around, being out and about in New York City, I am seeing lots more people wearing masks, different types of masks as well. But it's nowhere near the amount it was before. And honestly, I don't expect it to be the amount that it was before. I don't think people believe in the mask or this government enough today to do it. And, you know, experts, quote unquote, experts are saying that we're going to have a big rise as fall and winter roll around in cases, and that there will be more variants. I don't know if that mask mandate stuff is going to work. I don't think people are going to respect it, but I guess we'll see what happens. Is it necessary? I don't know. I haven't seen enough evidence to say it is or it isn't. I just keep seeing things that say hospitalizations are rising, but I haven't seen any solid numbers. I haven't seen anything that says this strand is deadly or anything like that. It just kind of seems to me like people are concerned, one, and two, I think people are kind of hesitant to just believe what is being put out, again, because of the way things played out last time. I don't think we're going to have a full lockdown, but I could be wrong. I hope we don't have a full lockdown. I think today many people feel like the virus is the virus and it's not that serious. I think that's how a lot of people feel today, more than ever probably. I've even heard people, you know, like conversations in passing where people are like, yo, who cares? You catch it and that's it. It's fine. It's like a cold now. And I understand why they're saying that. I'm not mad at them. I think we need more data, and I guess we should all, you know, just be cautious. That's all I can really say for now. I guess we'll see how things develop. We are coming to the end of the summer. There's only a couple weeks left, and I guess we'll see if they're right about fall and winter. And we'll discuss it right here as things continue to develop. All right? That's it. Again, I apologize for the weird sound. I had to record this way differently than I normally do. And hopefully next week, next pod, I'll be able to do things like I normally do. Later, y'all.